Hey everyone, it's Kim the Homeschooling Grammy, and today I am taking part in a collaboration being hosted by Tanisha Kemp of Marriage, Motherhood, and Homeschool. So if you are interested, stick around and we will get started. So the first thing I want to tell you to do is to make sure that you check out Tanisha's channel. She is amazing. She's an amazing homeschooling mama, and she shares all kinds of stuff. Her faith, makeup, homeschool, you name it, she shares it. So worth it. Make sure you check her out. I'll leave a link down in my description box to her channel and to her blog post and to her Facebook group and anything else that I can think of to put down there. And also make sure that you check out the playlist, because there's going to be other homeschoolers that are also taking part in this collaboration. And I guess I should tell you what the collaboration is. It is Best and Worst Homeschool Advice. Yeah. Okay. You guys ready for this? It's going to be different because I'm me. Okay. Okay, so when I was first invited to do this collaboration, I was racking my brain because I'm thinking best and worst advice. I really didn't get a whole lot of best advice. I'm going to be honest, I didn't get much of any advice. So I'm going to tell you how I came about homeschooling to begin with. It was back in like 1995. My daughter, my oldest, had attended kindergarten. And it was okay. I was one of those parents that was volunteering in school all the time. I liked her kindergarten teacher. I didn't see anything wrong per se with what was going on. This was back before chickenpox vaccine, and so I brought chickenpox home to my children. I had never had it. I brought it home. I shared. And so within like a couple of years before this time, I had become a foster parent. And so I was also fostering, and you go to different classes all the time in that process. And I ran across somebody who was homeschooling, and she was an adoptive parent. And I was so intrigued. Never heard of it before. Didn't even know you could do it. So basically I spoke to her, asked her what I needed to do. I'm one of those people that if I get something in my head, or if I feel led to do it, or I feel like God is calling me to do something, then like I'm full bore ahead. I'm going to do this. And so I went ahead, and starting in my daughter's first grade year, we went ahead and we started homeschooling, and I had no clue about what I was doing. None whatsoever. And she really didn't have a whole lot of resources to share with me as well, because she hadn't been doing it long herself. And quite frankly, there was nobody doing it. So for me to give best and worst advice that I have gotten as a new homeschooling parent, I can just really give you the naysayer stuff that I got, and it was tons and tons. So let's start off by saying, because nobody was doing it, very few people were doing it. And as the years progressed, and I would make contacts here and there, most of the people that I ran into that were doing homeschooling were people of faith. And at that time, not that I wasn't a born again Christian, but my first marriage, it's just, I was struggling as a new believer. I was one of those people that had accepted Jesus Christ at a fairly young age. I was like 12 years old. None of my family are believers. So I was struggling to figure it all out. And I did a lot of figuring out on my own. So I would run across people, and a lot of times, there just wasn't a whole lot of advice to be given. But let me tell you the stuff that I was told. I was told that I was ruining my children. I was told that, I was just spoiling my oldest child because she didn't want to go to school. And, why are you coddling her? You're ruining your child. You're ruining your other children as as I got more into homeschooling and the other ones got involved in homeschooling, were old enough to be schooled. I still got the same stuff. I always got told that I needed to cut the apron strings from my children, that they would not grow up to be normal, that they would be odd, that they wouldn't fit in, that they would be socially awkward. I was told just about everything and anything that you could possibly be told about why I should not be homeschooling my children. Fast forward, and I ended up, long story short, I'm married to my husband now, and we've been married for 20 and a half years now. And he has always been very, very supportive. And he truly believes in homeschooling like myself. And so when things happened and the two of us got married, because my girls had to go to school for a short period of time, and some terrible things happened in the public school. At that time we were in Maryland, and I went to him and I was like, this can't go on. And so I went into the school and I told him, I was like, after the Christmas break, I'm yanking the girls and we're homeschooling. And they didn't believe me, but they found out that I'm kind of a person of my word. And I did exactly that, and I never looked back. So it was really a learn as I go process. There was a bit more, what I want to say, there was a little bit more help when we had moved into Maryland. You actually had to go and, if you weren't in an umbrella group, then you went ahead and you reported to a homeschool advisor. And I remember him saying to me, every time we would go in for our portfolios, he would say to me that I was doing like above and beyond. that was why homeschoolers, even at that time, were killing the public school as far as scores were concerned, because of the amount of stuff that we were covering. So even though I had no idea, or at least I thought I didn't have any idea about what I was doing, I must have been doing something right, because I was being told these things. But still, in my inner circle of people, the people around me, there ended up being a couple of other families that homeschooled in our church at that time, and we went to a fairly large church at that time. But overall, I really was in it alone, except for my husband, who has always supported, like I said before. So I got lots of negativity. So I guess what I want to say and what I want to bring to this video is that no matter what kind of negativity you get, if you are convicted to do something, and I really have felt that I am convicted to be a homeschooler, that I feel that God has put it on my heart, and that it continues to be so even with our grandchild. And I'll be honest that I still get flack. You would think after all these years, my children are 29, 30, and 33 years old. And you would think after all of this time that people would be different about homeschooling in my family and with some of my friends, but they're not. My children did not grow up to be awkward. They did not grow up to be unsuccessful. It's just mind-blowing. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, there's always going to be naysayers. And so I just want to be that person that gives you some hope, gives you maybe the power within your own self to show you that if you're convicted to be a homeschooler, that you can do this. And it doesn't matter what anybody else says, because if God says to you that this is what he wants you to do, then that's what you're going to do, no matter what kind of flack that you are going to be getting from people around you. Yeah, I can't believe it's been such a long time. Yeah, it's been a really, really long time since I started out on this journey. And you all are really fortunate, for you newer homeschoolers that are just coming into this, because it is becoming more and more accepted. And there's so much out there for new people to homeschool. This platform in itself is amazing. I found so much support just in this platform. And although I'm kind of like, I don't really fit the mold, it's typical for me. I don't really fit the mold. I don't fit the mold, meaning that because I've been homeschooling such a long time, and because I'm a grandmother, and I think I just recently received an email actually from my grandmother who reached out to me. She emailed me because she was like, oh my goodness, there's somebody else who's a grandmother who's homeschooling. And, you know, her email was just beautiful. It was so well written. It actually brought tears to my eyes, because I was like, oh, it's kind of like this kindred spirit who lives on the other side of the country, but somebody else who's doing what I'm doing. And so that was really cool. But yeah, like I said, this video is probably going to be much different than everybody else's videos, because they came into homeschooling with, you know, people that at least had the same mindset as they did when I started, except for the person that I ran into that homeschooled that I really never saw after that. Most generally, yeah, people didn't have my mindset. They thought I was crazy. They thought that I was, you know, like, what am I doing? Like, why would you do that? But it's been one of the most rewarding things that I've ever done. I don't regret any of it. And it's just so beautiful. You know, and this saying, you know, you hear this all the time, because in the day-to-day, homeschooling can be rough in the day-to-day. You know, you have your really hard days where they just wear you out, honestly. And, you know, as a grandmother, I can tell you there's days I'm like worn out. Like, I have to walk away. I have to give myself a timeout. I have to be like, okay, it's quitsy time. Let's do something else. But that it's been worth it. And the saying that the days are long, but the years are short is so true. And I get so nostalgic, like, you know, just like yesterday, I'm waiting for my husband. He ran in to grab us some pizza for dinner last night, and I'm just watching this family crosses the street, and I'm assuming the grandmother must have been the one standing on the other side of the street, and this little one couldn't have been more than maybe 5, and she's just as cute as she can be, and she has her dad by the hand, but she sees her grandmother, and because traffic has stopped, he lets go of her hand, and she like runs as fast as she can to get to what I believe is her grandmother, and like runs into her arms. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm looking at that little girl, and I'm reminiscing to times when my babies were that little, and how it feels like a minute ago, when in fact now I have grandchildren that are that child's age and actually older. My oldest granddaughter just turned 11, and I'm going to be a grandmother again for baby number 6. It's crazy. So I just hope that this video is a blessing to you, in that, in your conviction to homeschool, that, you know, there will be times where you're going to have wonderful advice from people, and there's going to be times when you're going to have not so wonderful advice from people. And what you do is you do what's good for you and for your family and for your homeschool, and just run with it. Just run with it and don't look back, because I don't regret any of it. Were there some bumps along the road? Could I have maybe done some things a little bit differently? Am I doing things differently with my grandchild now? Absolutely. But it's a learning process. And the beautiful thing about homeschooling is that you learn right along with your child. So God bless, and I hope that this helps. Okay, y'all, that's it. I know I rambled a whole lot, and it really wasn't exactly like the collaboration was supposed to be, because like I said, I'm coming from a different perspective than you all. So anyways, make sure that you check out Tanisha. She's amazing. Make sure you check out the playlist, and I will talk to you again soon.